Video games are a huge part of my life ever since I was a little kid, and in these recent years it's clear to see that these companies are starting to care less about the games they were releasing. But also the consumers are consuming too much games to appreciate the work put into the game. I guess what I'm trying to say is that everyone has become so critical that they simply can't enjoy the game for what it is. But looking back at older titles and comparing the games released now, it's clear that most of these companies just care about the money rather than the piece of art they are creating. But today I'm here to talk about a game that I enjoyed so much, it gave me a feeling of nostalgia like none other. I always had Yakuza 0 in my Steam library, but bought it on my PlayStation during the start of my trophy hunting addiction. And making this video, I still have yet to get all the achievements, but oh my god, this game was so good, I just had to rant about it. Now some of you must be wondering, what the fuck is Yakuza 0? For those of you that clicked this video who have no clue what Yakuza 0 is, all I have to say is, you do know what Yakuza is. This meme blew up like crazy, and it was my first exposure to the Yakuza franchise. But Yakuza 0 is a prequel to the first game released in 2006 in the US. Now I'm still new to the franchise, I've yet to play the remake of the first game, but everyone knows what a prequel is, so no need to explain that. But I'm going to have segments in this video. The first one being about the game for those who are curious about the franchise and want to play it themselves. Then I'll be talking about the story and my favorite parts of the story, so I'll give a spoiler warning. Then after that, I'll be talking about my channel and what I'm going to do preceding this video. So if you're curious about that, please stick around to the end, I greatly appreciate it. Yakuza 0 is pretty much an action-adventure RPG beat-em-up where you literally just beat up guys. I know it sounds really simple, but I had a blast playing it. Now me being honest with you, I started playing the game because I thought the minigames were silly and fun, and this game has a good chunk of minigames, such as bowling, pool, karaoke, crane games, and arcade games. You got batting cages, disco, poker, blackjack, Baccarat, roulette, pocket circuit racing, asking random girls out at a telephone club. Yeah, you can do that. Darts, and whatever the hell this is. Now there's more, but I'm too lazy to name everything, and I think that's a good chunk. But besides all the minigames, I feel like the sub-stories are really entertaining to play as well, because they're not that serious compared to the main story, which I love about this game. I love how it doesn't take itself too seriously, and then it has all these silly stories and minigames. I feel like if it were to take itself too seriously, I wouldn't have loved it as much as I did. But most of my love for this game comes from the main story. At first I was a bit bored, but that's because I have the attention span of a goldfish, and just wanted to run off and play minigames. But the more I kept playing, the more I ended up being enthralled in the story. Now when I was first making this video, I was going to talk about every single chapter in the game, but I felt like that video would be way too long and it would ruin the point of trying to convince you guys to play the game. But I don't want to talk about the story just yet. The combat in this game is pretty simple. You play as two characters, which are Kiryu and Majima, and each of them have 3 fighting styles which all have different abilities. Now both Kiryu and Majima have their own separate styles, but they're kind of similar in a way. I like to think of it as both of them have a normal style, a fast style, and a heavy style. For Kiryu, his normal style is called Brawler. Like I said, it's pretty normal from the get-go, and to be honest, I can't really come up with a description for it, so I'm just going to show you footage of it. Then you have Kiryu's Rush style, which I call the fast style because it's much faster than the Brawler style. I use it more for dodging and faster movement, but the damage isn't as good as Brawler style. Next we got the B style, which is a tankier but much slower style, hence why I call it the heavy style. But it does the most damage out of all three. And I found it fun to just kind of swap them whenever and just kind of mix and match which moves works with what. Or you can just spam the same thing over and over again. It's really up to how you like to play. Now Majima has kind of the same blueprint for his styles, but I personally think Majima is just so much more flashier than Kiryu. For example, his styles, you got Thug, which is like Kiryu's normal, but it's gruesome. Not to say that Kiryu isn't gruesome, he's gruesome, but Majima just does it with style, man. And for his fast style, he has Breaker, which is by far the flashiest style in the game, and you cannot tell me I'm wrong. Like, this dude is literally breakdancing on people and beating them up. That is the coolest shit you can do. Then you got Slugger, which you just run around beating up people with a bat. I personally prefer Kiryu's Beast than Majima's Slugger though, but I just like how cool Majima is. Pro tip though, if you play the game, don't rush into bosses without upgrading your abilities. I learned that the hard way and was stuck on a boss fight for like 2 hours because I was trying to rush through the game. Anywho, that's pretty much it for the combat. There's also these things called heat actions and a heat bar, where you build up your heat bar by just pretty much punching people, and you can do these crazy cinematic heat actions, which are pretty much like finisher cutscenes that do a lot of damage. Like I said, it's pretty simple, but it's very enjoyable, and the story makes it a whole lot better. But one thing I wanted to put in here as well is that the music in this game is insanely good. I don't know about you guys, but I love listening to music from games. Like, I just love hearing OSTs. And every song I'm using in this video is music that comes from Yakuza 0. And it is by far one of my favorite soundtracks of all time in a game. Anywho, like I said in the beginning of the video, I recently got into trophy hunting and I've been wanting to get into the Yakuza franchise for a while. So I thought, would it be a fun idea to get into the Yakuza franchise by getting the plat for Yakuza 0? And oh boy, was I in for a ride. Because you have to do everything the game has to offer, which makes sense because it's getting 100%. But you have to complete all the sub-stories, play and complete a challenge for every minigame, order everything from every restaurant, and defeat 200 enemies with each fighting style. Now obviously there's more, but that would be an insanely long rant. But I genuinely have never put so much time into a story game, and I'm glad I'm going for the 100% because of 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't have to spend so much money on new games I'm only going to play for a little bit. Because I bought Yakuza 0 for $20 in the PlayStation Store, which is a fucking steal if you ask me. And number 2, I genuinely enjoy the game, and it's been a long time where a game can make me feel excited, sad, and shocked. And because of those emotions, Yakuza reignited my love for games and my hobbies in general. Like, I wouldn't have made this video if it weren't for me loving this game so much. Now enough with the emotional shit, let's get into the story. This is the opening scene to the entire story, which doesn't seem like it's important, but the entire game is revolved around this one scene. And when I was first playing, I was like, how the hell did this scene make hours of gameplay? And it's actually kind of absurd. So this is Kazuma Kiryu, who's collecting money from someone for a loan shark. But what Kiryu didn't know is that he ended up causing unwanted attention to that plot of land he beat up the guy in, which different Yakuza families are trying to obtain for power and money. Now this scene alone is what starts the whole game, but every 2 chapters you switch characters. And I went into the game without knowing that, so I was kind of bummed out when I started playing as Majima, but instantly grew to like him when they introduced him. They introduced him as the owner of a cabaret called The Grand, and it is just such a cool intro for him. but he's actually forced to work there because he was caught trying to assassinate someone. And both of these characters' stories will have you at the edge of your seat and will show you the many sides and consequences that they both face, all because of this small plot of land, and how it is all intertwined to make one big amazing story. Now that's all I'm going to say for the story, because I highly recommend you to play it for yourself. But I'm going to go into some parts of the story because I just need to rant about them, so this is your spoiler warning. So at the end of chapter 2, you join this man in Tachibana, and I don't know why, but he does this scene where he waves his hand at the city view and all the lights go out. I guess he was showing off that money equals power, but my dumbass thought, holy shit, Tachibana has fucking superpowers! But that's the only time he does something like that, which I thought was kind of dumb. But he's still a really cool dude, but he's not as cool as Lee. Lee was introduced in the game in the 4th chapter while you're playing as Majima, and this guy is scary, man. Like, look at him. And he was always going out of his way to protect Makito Makimura, which leads to a series of unfortunate events, sadly. But something I want to for sure mention is Majima's introduction. Like I said, he's the manager of the Cabaret Grand, and they show him dealing with the customer who isn't treating the staff with respect. If you know, you know. And I just think this guy is hilarious with the scene alone. And then the game puts you into combat, but you're not supposed to beat up the guy because the customer is king. Which was so funny to watch, because Majima is just taunting him the whole time while he's missing all his punches. There's so many moments in the game where both characters are just so badass, but one thing that bothered me when I was done with the game was that you never get to see Majima and Kiryu fight beside each other, which made me really sad because they could literally be the best duo ever. And throughout the whole game, Majima's just protecting Makimura, and they even say in the game that he has fallen in love with her. And then the whole time I was thinking, damn, this means they're going to be together at the end of the game, right? But no, none of that happens. Like earlier in the game, Majima tells her that he is missing an eye and that he's wearing an eye patch. But for some reason, at the end of the game, she doesn't recognize him at all. That just pissed me off because, like, he's the only person with an eye patch in the entire fucking game. Like, what? But this game is just full of characters that are so fucking cool and a bunch of moments that are really sad that you need to play for yourself. Nothing in the world could have prepared me for the amazing story that is Yakuza 0. And I hope you, the viewer, will enjoy the same story that was clearly made with a lot of love and passion the same way I enjoyed it. For those of you that made it this far, I just want to say thank you for watching. I'm not too sure what the plan is from here on out, but I plan to make more videos similar to this one or random compilations from my Twitch. Go follow my Twitch, please. I'm so close to hitting affiliate, please. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was supposed to be done like 4 months ago, but I procrastinate. Anyway, subscribe.